These Pokemon are really struggling inside the meta right now. Cinderace, Greninja, Duraludon, all of these auto attack type Pokemon are actually having a tough time, well, mainly because of one huge item, and that's the Slick Spoon. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to talk about why this could change very, very soon. Hi everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! Let's get into it. Obviously, special attackers like Espeon have been absolutely crushing it lately, not only because this Pokemon received some really nice buffs when it got its Battle Pass, but also because of this item right here, the Slick Spoon, making it so that the damage you deal to enemy Pokemon ignores 20% of their special defense. This has set up special attackers to not only do great damage to everything as they already have, but also to rip through enemy tanky Pokemon, so the meta has become really interesting because of that. To put it basically, a lot of what you're seeing in higher level competitive play, and even in a lot of play once you get up into the master rank, are a ton of teams that have bulky physical Pokemon like Trevenant or Slowbro or something like that, something that's in the front line doing a ton of damage but also receiving a ton of damage. Then they also have these special attackers, things like Glaceon, Mew, Espeon, Delphox, that are doing tons of damage at range, can actually do damage into these big tanky Pokemon. And then of course you're seeing things like Zacian that are just running around the map going crazy, Dodrio kind of doing the same thing. So they are sort of filling out that role when they get in, get out, do a lot of damage. And then you have your Pokemon that are healing and supporting the team, Clefable, Comfey, Blissey, things like that. That's a lot of what you're seeing when teams are being structured inside of Unite right now, and that leaves a whole group of Pokemon kind of out in the cold. And those Pokemon are sort of our ranged auto attackers. They're just not doing as much as these ranged special damage Pokemon are, and it feels like the special damage Pokemon are kind of filling into many different spots inside the meta. One of the biggest things is that these ranged auto attackers really don't perform that well into the tanks. Even though some of them can kind of rip through the tanks at a decent speed, they're still not doing the kind of damage that, say, Psyshock can do into a huge group, or Delphox throwing its damage, then its Unite move into a big group of Pokemon. They're just not really able to do exactly what you want to do there. And then the other role that they might be fit for is kind of being taken by things like Dodrio and Zacian, who are able to do a lot of single target damage in a huge burst, so it can't be healed out of. And because of that, the auto attackers are just in this weird spot. And the question is, when are they going to come back into the meta? And I think I actually might know. You may remember around the time we found out about the Slick Spoon and the Rescue Hood from El Chico Eevee, we also found out about the Cursed Incense and Curse Bangle. We don't exactly know how these items are going to work. One of the items says the parameter is special attack, but I'm guessing these two items will be for special attack and for physical attack, and the effect is heal, get, rate. So the question is this the amount of healing that you get, or is this the amount of healing your opponents get? I would be willing to bet this is the amount of healing your opponents get. Now, these items could be good for special attackers and for auto attackers, but let me tell you why this might be huge for an auto attack type Pokemon like Cinderace. Tier 3 of this item says that it minuses 50% from healing. If you're a Pokemon like Cinderace and you're able to move around a battle, or even Razor Leaf Decidueye, which could be insane, and your auto attacks apply a debuff to enemy Pokemon that lowers the amount of healing they receive, this in and of itself is sort of a counter to things like Comfey, Clefable, whatever it is supporting and healing the Pokemon around. They lose so much value, and all you have to do is hit them with just a little auto attack from these Pokemon. Imagine the value you would get out of Duraludon or Dragapult with Dragon Dance if when you use this move and spun around the battlefield, you would be hitting every single enemy with a slight debuff to the amount of healing they had received. Inside of a big fight, this could be monumental. I mean, imagine the ending fights inside of Pokemon Unite where everyone is clashing, they're throwing their Unite moves, and Comfey, of course, throws their Unite move on Zacian. You can't KO it, except you have a character on your team whose job not only it is to do damage, to KO enemy Pokemon, to rip down objectives, but also, if they can hit with a few auto attacks, the amount of healing that Pokemon gets is cut in half. It would completely change the meta, and it could take our auto attackers and make them a necessary component on every single team again, because you're going to want to lower the amount of healing your opponents are able to dish out. Now, at the same time, you could have a meta where people know that's going to happen, and because of that, they start seeing less and less healers, which would be really interesting because healers are amazing right now. Your support Pokemon that are able to recover HP for your side really can be game changing. If you see two team setups, if one is even mostly meta but has no healer, and the other is kind of like decent but with a healer, that side might actually have the advantage. You see this with Comfey being attached to just about anything in the game. Just imagine that you could be a Cinderace, and all you have to do is press the A button, and all of a sudden, Comfey is half as useful. Like, what a major change inside of Pokemon Unite. One of the biggest questions about this is, when is this item coming? How is it going to work for special attackers? Is it exactly what we think it is, or is it something else? First of all, I would love to hear from you in the comments what you think this item does based on the limited description that we have. Is this something where you're dealing more damage, but you receive less healing? That would be wild, by the way, for assassin-type Pokemon or something like that. Or is it more of what I'm saying right now, where you're actually hindering the amount of healing enemies are getting from this item? I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Now, as far as when we get the item, that really is unclear, but I can assume it's coming around the time of Umbreon. The items probably have to drop before the World Championships, and there has to be enough time for people to play them. That would either be Chandelure or Umbreon. I don't think we'd see it as far down the road as Leafeon at that point, but I guess it's possible. There also is an item that they've been testing for a really, really long time, the Shedinja doll. I don't know when that's going to drop in the game, but that's been in the public test server forever. When that item pops into the game, I have to assume that we're going to see these other items make their way into Pokemon Unite. And before Worlds, it would be a really good time to have them, because as of right now, competitively, you don't often see any of these Pokemon except Decidueye, who plays a role that is very, very far back, just dealing damage from range with Spirit Shackle. Again, imagine a reality. Razorleaf Decidueye walks towards a battle, and 3 enemy Pokemon at the same time all have their healing reduced by 50% just by auto attacking. It would instantly make these Pokemon and a build like that meta right away. So I was thinking about auto attackers earlier, and I just thought, when are they ever going to come back with Slick Spoon and all this? And I thought maybe a Slick Spoon nerf. And then I remembered these items, and I thought, ooh, that actually could be the light at the end of the tunnel for these Pokemon. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think this makes some sense? I love you all very much. I will see you all very soon. Big shout outs once again to Eevee for being the one who knows about these items and finding them. I can't wait to learn more. Love you.